fourth graders. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi guys. I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. Cal and I are having lots of fun. Hello. We're coming to you live from the playroom. You know that playroom that I tell you about where these little hooligans don't respect my need for organization? It's pretty organized right now. But we had our cleaning man come this week. So I'm sure by the end of the weekend, things are going to be looking a lot different. But that's another story. Cal, you have a big head. Okay, back it up there. Okay, so we're going to get into lesson 5. Before we get into lesson 5, I want you guys to know what this week looks like in math. Monday we'll do lesson 5, Tuesday lesson 6, Wednesday lesson 7, Thursday lesson 8. Does that sound so fun, Gal? And then Friday we are going to begin our first celebration of learning. Yay! Can you say yay, Cal? It's really exciting to celebrate learning. So we have a lot.
I know. A date.
Okay, hold on. I'm almost done.
I was like it too.
So in lesson 5, you guys, we are going to write a variety of different numbers in three forms. We're going to look at standard form, expanded form, and unit form, and it's going to look really, really fancy. And your parents are going to be so impressed by how extremely clever you guys are when it comes to math. So we're going to go through it. I'm going to warn you, it's going, like I said, it's going to look very... Is it too scary? No, it's not scary. They can handle it. They're ready. I believe in you guys. Cal thinks it's too scary, but Cal, they are ready for this. Expanded form is going to look a little scary, like Cal said, but you guys are going to be so impressed with yourselves, and you're going to be so impressed by what you will be able to do by the time our math block is over on Monday. So, without further ado, here we go. Can you say bye-bye, Cal?
Bye-bye.
Kiddos, before we get in to looking at some examples, I want to add another layer to our math experience. In our notebooks, before we start our math rotations, we are going to write out our learning target. So this is my best learning target. If anyone, we talked a little bit about this, but for my friends that have had the good fortune of doing some archery, this is supposed to be an archery target. So our learning target in lesson 5 is, like I just mentioned, to name decimal fractions in expanded, unit, and word forms by applying place value reasoning. So we are going to continue using that place value chart to guide us. Also, you guys have a really good sense of place value already from the amazing work that you've done in 3rd and 4th grade in Eureka. And that's really going to help you in lesson 5 and as we move forward. So expanded form, unit form, and word form. I feel like word form, we'll start with just like a very simple example here. Let's look at the number 123. Word form of 123, I'm thinking that a lot of you are making that prediction that the word form is just the words written out. And some of you might be wondering, why is that important? Well, it's important because as these numbers grow larger and larger and larger, it's really important to know how to say them in words. If this, I'm going to keep with this very basic example, but if we had a decimal here and we had many decimals filled to the right, for instance, 1796, it's very important that we understand how to say this number in word form. This would be 123, and you can say this in a few different ways. You can say that we have 1/10, 700ths, 9 thousandths, 6 10,000ths, or you could say 123 and 1,796 10,000ths. So this This, I feel like our decimal work can get a little bit more confusing than what's happening on the left side with our whole numbers. So we will work on exactly how to pronounce each of these decimal place values because they're really, really important. So the word form is just word form, 100. Let's just think about this original example. That would be 123. Cool. So word form is kind of a gimme. That's pretty easily understandable. Unit form is breaking down this number into units. We have 100. We have 2 tens. So this is really just imagining this on a place value chart and thinking about what do we have in each place value. Well, we have 100, we have 2 tens, and we have 3 ones. So that's our unit form. Expanded form is what looks really, really fancy. Expanded form is rather impressive looking, considering that you guys are 5th graders. It's just amazing what you guys are going to be able to do here in expanded form. Expanded form is going to look like this. We're going to still use this example, still think about it on the place value chart, and we are going to make a really impressive expression that looks like this. We have 1 copy of 100 in this number, plus we're going to look at the fact that we have 2 copies of 10, plus 3 copies of 1. Expanded form is expanding that number, stretching it out, place value by place value by place value. So this would be the expanded form for 123. Pretty cool, huh, you guys? Let's take a look at some examples here. Here we go, guys. We are going to, I'm just going to do these examples on blank paper or blank screen. I guess I'm not working on paper, am I? And we are going to take a look at, why can't I get a color here? There we go. We are going to take a look at 3 different forms, 3 different ways that we can write a number. The first way, we are going to check out our standard form. Standard form. Standard form, as the title, as you can infer from the title, is pretty standard, or we can even say that it's basic form. So I'm going to say the number. What we're going to look at right now is 1,000th. Okay, so 1,000th in standard form can be written in 2 ways. We can look at it as a decimal. So this is 1,000th.
No, I want to watch it, Dada.
Okay, you can watch it, but you need to make sure your voice is off.
I want to eat.
Standard form as a decimal looks like this. This is 1,000th. We can also write 1,000th as a fraction. Standard form is just writing what the number looks like. Count. You're counting. Yes, the 5th graders are very impressed with your counting. Great job, buddy. Now let's look at unit form. Unit form. It's fine. Unit form is going to go ahead and take a look at this number on a place value chart. I'm just going to write our place value chart very quickly over here. So we're still looking at 1,000th. Unit form, like I said in our intro, is going to be just labeling how many units of each place, or how many units we have in each place value. So we don't have to include the fact that we have 0 tenths. We don't have to include the fact that we have 0 hundredths. But what is helpful is labeling 1,000. Unit form is just picking apart this number, place value by place value, and just labeling how many copies of that place value we have. This is a very simple number. We're going to start off with really nice basic numbers. So the unit form here isn't super complicated because we just have 1,000th. Okay, so we have standard form, we have unit form. Next, we're going to take a look at, next we're going to take a look at our expanded form. And this is that fancy, impressive form that I think a lot of you are really going to take a lot of pride in. Expanded form is picking apart the number place value by place value and writing an expression. So what we have here is one copy of the place value 1,000th. We can write expanded form just like we did in standard form in decimals or fractions. So expanded form can be written as a decimal, or it can actually be written as fractions. So if we were to write 1,000th in expanded form, we would have one copy of 1,000th. And again, as you guys can see here, expanded form is just isolating each place value and telling and just noting how many copies of each place value we have. Okay, so let's make a little bit more complicated problem here for you guys. Oh, sorry, before we do that, I forgot about word form. Sorry, word form, no offense. Word form. Word form, here we go. Word form, as you guys know, I think everyone should be pretty comfortable with this, is just writing out in words how this number is pronounced. Word form can contain only words. Unit form, yes, contains words, but you'll use a digit to note how many copies of each place value you have. Okay, so we have standard, unit, expanded, and word. Let's make our example a little bit more complicated. Okay, kiddos, we are going to look at another example. I'm just going to say it verbally so that I don't give anything away. So what I would like for you guys to think about, please keep in mind one of these problems needs to be completed in your notebook. You choose which one, whether it was the first one, the second one, or the third one that I'll do in just a moment, well, a few moments here. So our next value that we're going to look at in standard, unit, expanded, and word form is 13,000ths. 13,000ths. So let's first look at 13,000ths in standard form. I'm going to keep with the same kind of color scheme, so that is a helpful way for your brain to respond to standard form. So standard form, I'm going to continue writing in purple so we can keep that organized in our brain. Standard form, we are looking at 13,000ths in standard form. Standard form, as you guys know, can be written in two ways. Well, before we write that in two ways, standard form is simply what the number looks like in digits. Oh, Mrs. Calamaris just made a boo-boo. That is not 13,000ths. Mrs. Calamaris, that is 1300ths. And that was not my eraser. Oh, thank you. Let's try that again. 13,000ths. So happy that I have erasers even when I'm doing my math digitally. Okay, let's try that again. 13,000ths. I know I'm going to have a decimal. We have 0, 10s, 100th, and 3,000ths, or 13,000ths. 13,000ths in decimal form is going to look like this. 13,000ths in fraction form is going to look like this. 13 thousandths. Okay, so we have our decimal form and our fraction form of 13 thousandths. Next, let's look at our unit form. We're going to do our unit form again in red. More red instead of brick. That's good enough. So let's look at our unit form. Unit form, again, is looking at this number in terms of place value. So unit form, yes, we have 0 tenths. Do we have to write 0 tenths? I bet Victoria would like to write 0 tenths. You can. But if we did not write 0 tenths, mathematicians would know that, oh, okay, we don't have any tenths there. We do, however, have 1/100th. So as you guys can see, I'm just looking at each place value and noting how many copies of each place value we have. We have 0 tenths, we have 1/100th, and then we have 3 thousandths. 3 thousandths. So that is our unit form. Next, let's look at that very impressive expanded form. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this. Let's look at our very impressive expanded form. Oh dear, Kel's having a bit of a hard time. He is sad that he's missing out on this fun. He wants to do 5th grade math. Expanded form, we're going to take apart this number, place value by place value, and we're going to write a super cool expression. Expanded form we can do in decimal form or fractions. So let's look at what we have. I have 1, and again, for expanded form or any of these forms, hi, Cal's back here, guys. You can watch. Excuse me, Cal. That was Cal's belch, not mine. I think that would actually be an excellent secret word. What did Cal do in the video when he was interrupting on this example? Well, I'm so sorry and embarrassed to say that Cal burped. So secret word, you guys, is going to be Cal burped. You silly boy. Okay, you have to stay quiet. Expanded form, we're going to look at each place value, and we're going to write in an expression how many copies of each place value we have. So we can write expanded form in decimal or fraction. Let's do decimal first. So we are looking at 1 copy of 1/100th. We're also looking at we're going to add to that 3 copies of 1/1000th. Okay, so we have 1 copy of 1/100th. Here you can see we have 1/100th. And then we have 3 copies of 1,000th. Here we have 3 thousandths. So that's the decimal form of our expanded form. Now we can do our fraction. Our fraction form. It's your choice whether you prefer decimals or fractions. So the way that this will look in fraction form is 1 copy of 1/100th plus 3 copies of 1,000th. So we have our decimal form and our fraction form of expanded form. And then last but not least, in these fancy new versions of numbers, we have our word form, which I'll just put over here. Word form, again, is just exactly how would you pronounce this number. So if I saw decimal 013, the way we pronounce that number is 13. And again, I'm not writing the digits 13, I'm writing the number 13 thousandths. Pretty cool, huh, guys? We'll do one more to look at. I'm going to make sure that we have a nice hearty number for our final set of examples. Okay, so let's look at standard form first. Standard form, as you guys know, can be written in decimal or fraction form. We are going to look at 784 and 19 hundredths. 784 and remember, see that decimal? When we see a decimal, we pronounce an and. 784 and, meaning we've gone from whole number land to decimal land. 784 and I think I said 19 hundredths. I'm sorry if that's not what I originally said. I'm old and my memory is going. So the number, whether this is what I said originally or not, this is what we're going to look at. 784 and 19 hundredths. So here's the decimal form of that. We can also write this fabulous number in fraction form. 784 and 19 hundredths. Oh, Cal's flying in with an airplane. Okay, so we have standard form here in purple, and now we're going to go into unit form in red. Unit form, as we've talked about, is looking at each unit and considering how many copies of each unit we have in this number. Okay, so let's check out unit form. It's great to start with a standard form because we can see the number. So unit form, I feel like it's really helpful to have the number on a place value chart so we can isolate each of those place values. So we have 784. As you guys can see, I'm just drawing a quick place value chart. If you have one pre-printed with you, that is fabulous as well. Either one works. So let's just look at unit by unit. Let's look and see how many copies we have of each unit, or how many digits, what digit we have in each place value. Unit form, so we have 7 hundredths. Unit form, keep in mind guys, is that mix between numbers and words, digits and words. So we have 7 hundredths, and now we have 8 tenths. We're just moving through the place value chart. We also have 4 ones. Next, we have 1/10. Make sure we have that TH. It's not a 10, it's a tenth because it's a decimal. It's less than 1. And then we also have 9 hundredths. Not hundreds, hundredths. Okay, so this is our unit form, just place value by place value. Next, let's look at the really impressive, fancy expanded form. I'm going to kind of make a column here. So expanded form, my friends, you pick your preference. You can do decimal or fraction. I'm going to do both so you can see what both looks like. So expanded form, we're going to write that really long expression breaking up this number place value by place value. So here goes nothing. We have 7 copies. Again, this is why I love putting the number in the place value chart, so we could just look at the number one place value at a time. So we have 7 copies of 100. We have 7 in our hundreds place value. And we have 8 copies of 10 because there's an 8 in our tens place value. But wait, there's more. We have 4 copies of 1. Oops, I forgot my parentheses. There we go. Also, we have 1 copy of 1/10, and I've run out of room. I was trying to write small. I'm going to just kind of snake down here. I wish I could have this all on one line, but life isn't perfect. Finally, we have 9 copies of 1/100th. Okay, so that's the expanded form using decimals. We can also write expanded form using fractions. So this part is going to look exactly the same. It is 7 copies of 100 plus 8 copies of 10 plus 4 copies of 1. And here's where things are going to look a little bit different. So we're going to use fractions instead of decimals, plus 1 copy of 1/10. And finally, 9 copies of 1/100th. We can write 1/10 like this. We can also write 1/10 like this. These represent the same value, they're just in 2 different forms. Same thing with our hundredths. Oops. Let's put a decimal on our left. We can write 100th as 1. Oops, I need my pen back. I've lost my pen. Okay, here we go. 100th in decimal form or 100th in fraction form. So that's why it's totally okay to do a decimal or a fraction form. Okay, isn't expanded form exciting, you guys? Let's do word form, and then we're going to say goodbye. Word form here looks like words. No digits in word form. Word form is going to look like this. We have 700, and this can be on multiple lines or one long line depending on how much space you're working with. We have 784 and 19,000. Nope, not thousandths. This is Calamaris. 19 what? 19. Thank you. Where's my eraser? Thank you, Grayson. Why isn't my eraser working, Grayson? 19. Okay, we're just gonna block that out. Thank you, Grayson. 19. What did I do? I did the same thing twice. My words. 19 hundredths.